Hi,
Kaya.
everybody. Welcome to the Crossover Cinema Podcast. I'm your host, Kaya.
And I'm Carlo, and welcome to the finally of the last episode of House of the Dragons. And we're gonna talk about like the impression that we got, how we saw it coming.
What we
It's
didn't see coming, what we didn't see coming, definitely.
yeah, and especially the mixed feelings because it's crazy how like we went through like so much good episodes, and after we're going to final episode that brings me back to Game of Thrones. I don't know why, but I had that same kind of
I think that's where we
little like
differ. I think that's
yeah,
where we
I know,
differ.
and that's crazy. This episode we really have two different kind of vision about it, and that's gonna be interesting. But
So
before we
go ahead,
start the
please.
episode, Kaya,
Yes,
tell
sir.
me, you went to Takaton this week,
I
right?
did. I hit up the Friday
Tell me about it. How
Otakuthon.
was it?
So I haven't been in about a decade. It's been like 10 years, you guys. So I haven't been to the Montreal Otakuthon in a while. And I was just excited to see what the vibe was again, because I find in comparison to Montreal Comic Con, which I work, I find it's a bit more of geared towards the social gathering aspect of it. And I think that what's cool about it is you really get to just feel the community of anime lovers and a lot of weeaboos all around, of course, and people in their great outfits. Lots of amazing Jujutsu Kaisen outfits. Shouts out to y'all.
Mhm.
And other franchises that I don't even know that I'm like, okay, now based on the way these people are dressed up, I'm like, I want to go watch
Mhm.
this thing, So
Yeah.
that was nice, and I took my sister. It was her first time going, so she had a great time. She's a big Sailor Moon and Inuyasha fan and Naruto fan, so she got her fill. And what was really nice for me was I went upstairs and kind of relived some old memories. The last time I was at a talkathon, I went for multiple days, and I had basically found my niche and my hunkered down spot in the what is essentially the video game room. If you go inside
Mhm.
on the fifth floor, there's a gigantic space out of just Dance Dance Revolution, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Street Fighter 6 on projectors, and big tables set up around with TVs playing Tekken, Mortal Kombat, more consoles of Street Fighter, etc. And so it was nice. I had a really good time, and I beat some dudes down. I had no choice. I had to beat some Utes. It is what it is.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I had to put the lay of the law, lay the law down. But I had fun, and I think they did too. And I think everybody was really enjoying themselves, and yeah, I was great. It was a great time. Great time. Awesome stuff.
Awesome. And do you think that like the costumes were better than like Comic Con?
I'd say they were pretty equal. It's a very blasé,
Yeah.
it's a very humble and democratic response to say, but for real, the way that they, in both respects, you'll always see people show out. And I work when I work at Comic Con, I see it a lot, right? So I see some people who
Yeah.
actually come back to Otakuthon and dress up in different outfits, and I find there's that cross section of people who both love comics media and Japanese media and Asian media in that sort of way, animated media, and it's like really cool just to see like that bridge kind of forming, because I had people who were dressed up there as video game characters completely unrelated to Japanese culture, and it was cool to see that it's a convention of people in that space of things. That guy who's dressed up as that video game character doesn't not like anime, but it's
No,
nice
no,
for him to
but
be able to, it was great. It was great stuff.
yeah.
Shouts out to the dude dressed up as Harry from Disco Elysium.
Because seriously, the impression that I got is that the quality of the costumes or like the dedication of the costume are like higher at Atakaton than
I
Comic
think
Con
there's a
was.
bit more of a niche with anime outfits where they
Yeah, maybe
where
they have more
where there's
to
more to do,
present
more
than
to
like
present. I think sometimes yes. I
I
think
saw
you
a
have
lot
to
of
go a little.
T-shirts at Comic Con, but
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know. I was like
No,
it
but
gave me an
I see
impression, but I
what you
was
mean.
wondering what you were saying. Yeah.
I feel like that's very much the sort of thing where anime has this outlandish kind of aspect to a lot of the media and the work of it, and it's what makes it its unique thing, and people embodying that on the scene is really cool. So I'm happy with that. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, let's go
And
to
let's let's
what we're
let,
here
let's go
for,
right
right?
into that House of the Dragon, y'all.
Because this week there's a lot of stuff like with like Wolverine and Deadpool that came out. But before we go there, let's finish House of the Dragons, like
Absolutely.
that final episode. what happened exactly, like what do they want to do with all this information,
Well, I think it's a
and the
really
fact that the next season is
it's
confirmed
next
in two
season.
years,
Two
bro. That's
years.
far.
2 years, you
That's
guys.
far to give us nothing like that at the end. Well, not nothing, but
We
the
gotta wait
impression
for
that
them
we
to
could have
cook. We gotta let
condensed
them
all
cook.
that episode in the seventh episode. You know what I mean? Like it was feeling like a preview of the real thing. I thought we would have had a fight or something, man. But
Well, I think that that's where a lot of the audience, and I think especially the general audience of Game of Thrones ones who don't really read into the books and stuff like that, who really just want a Game of Thrones type show, they're looking for the satisfying action moments. And I think that this season sprinkled them throughout. But when you sprinkle them throughout and you don't end with a one that's comparable or bigger, people will feel the void. So it's as if
yeah, I get it. But wait, I just want to say I talked to a lot of people that read the books and they feel a little bit the same way. They're like they wanted a little bit more to finish the season. It started really well. Like for me, seeing all the family Stark and everything I was building and the two clan that were creating. I don't know. For me, it was really clear, but it was just missing that thing at the end, bro. Like that last part, that little spark. We didn't even need to have that big fight, but at least like something that makes us like wonder what will happen. Now we know what will happen, but it's like 3 episodes now that we know what's happening. Like, come on,
we
we
know
need
what they're
something,
building up
man.
to. Well, so
Yeah,
I understand that as a criticism. I think for me, I could feel the that's how I would describe it. This episode was for most people whelming. Like I loved all the interactions we got, all the developments we got through those character arcs finishing up. Damon's character arc finishing up. Allison, finding peace in her own way and freedom.
yeah,
And then Rhaenyra kind of embodying everything
yeah. The
and taking
queen
on the
she is.
family, just basically putting everything on her back and just doing
Yeah,
that. And so I think for me it really comes down to the fact that we aren't in a space right now to get that level of action, and
well,
I
there is
appreciate.
the
So this
space,
is
but
so
bro,
hold on, listen, let me make this point. This whole season is essentially the beginnings of the war, how a war truly starts, all the trappings of it, right? And I look at it and envision it in a way kind of like a Lord of the Rings, where you have the first season as everybody, we're getting used to these characters, we're getting introduced to them, we're learning their history, we're learning how they are, we're learning their motivations, right? And
mm,
this second season, the motivations coming to clash and what the brewings of those things are, but things have to brew. And so for me, I'm appreciating how much they're cooking the actual emotional like relationships between all these characters so that when things inevitably just go crashing down in a tragedy in the next few seasons, it's going to be insane to watch and we're going to feel rewarded
no,
because we've been
but
invested
the
in those
thing,
relationships.
I get it. But the thing is, I think we need to not forget that if there's nobody watching, all of this doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are losing interest. You see that it impacted seriously the second season. The first season was good. The second season, it started high for me, but it went down. But what I see generally is that it didn't went to get a lot of people. Like,
It's a tease, and I think a tease can only go
yeah,
so far for a
but I
lot of
get
people.
that that story is so short in the book that you have like a number of episodes and like maybe you want to fit all the story in that amount of time and it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe I think really that the last 2 episodes could have been 1 episode. Seriously, like getting all those dragons was awesome. Like for me, the episode 7, I was down for it. I was like, okay, everything is getting in place. It was not that crazy, but let's go. We're ready for the finale. But right now, it's like if what we got in the finale would have been just put it with the dragons and
What you're
I don't
saying
know,
is you
like
would have appreciated maybe, for example, episode 7 being an extra half hour longer, encompassing all of the stuff with
mm,
the pirates, for example. I think
and I,
the free cities, right? And I
yeah.
think if you had encompassed all of that stuff and a lot of what would be like the like tension boiling over from having the new bastard dragon riders, I think would have worked maybe a little bit better for the pacing of the last episode, but I still don't think that they screwed it up. For me,
No, but the Lannister story,
yes.
you know what I mean, was like, I get it. What I think that they wanted to like shook maybe the audience with it and just like showing, look where it started. You know what I mean? Like you see them, like you see all of the like the fighting and like proving himself and trying to like conquer like that woman that has all those men. You know what I mean? Like all of that story, I get it, but it wasn't that interesting. It wasn't that like hype to put at the final episode
I
for
don't
me.
disagree with that. I think it was essentially a way to plot out the episode and make it reach that extended runtime of an hour and like 13. I think it was like it was a pretty long episode, and I
Well,
feel
that's what it was.
and that's an issue that I can wholeheartedly agree with. I think that pacing wise, that didn't add to it. And I think that you could have encompassed that in the last episode and still um, given it the full weight that it needed. And I like the scenes, but I don't think it fit this episode. And so
Yeah.
um, when I look at the rest of the conversations that happened throughout the episode, like the interactions that happened between Jace and Bela, I really like that
Mhm.
because I feel like that you're really seeing the beginnings of a real relationship between these two and an understanding and like a respect and how she really uplifts him in a way that he's like not appreciating and he really needs to learn how to like realize like there's people who are in his corner for real, and I think that he
Mhm.
at the end of the day is kind of letting his childishness and his insecurities get to him far too much, but it's interesting to see that play out, and I think the actors are doing a really good job with that. But
The
moreover,
actors are really good, but
yeah, moreover, I would even say the thing I didn't like too much was the heavy handedness of Ulf's like just like general disrespect for the crown and
Mhm.
being being now ascended to royalty, and it's like I feel like that was a little bit heavy handed. So y'all could be a little more subtle, just a little bit. Like I think that's something where I would appreciate that a little more. Um, but overall, what we got from Rhaenyra and Alicent, for example, having their like really intense, deep conversation where there was like that little bit of like romance in there. I felt that little
yeah,
like that like with that tension. It was so like I loved it. I really enjoyed that, I think that made up for a lot of the I think I think slowness and kind of like lounging around of this last episode that I don't think it was entitled to from the viewer's perspective. I think the creators thought they had that you know leniency. But why I compare it to Lord of the Rings is like if you look at Two Towers, right? Two Towers is my favorite film out of the three films, and I feel like it hits all the marks. It's a middle passage, so you're seeing all the characters developing and things changing for them. But there's major action sequences. It has a
Mhm.
crazy action battle. The battle I can't remember what it's called, but the nighttime battle in the rain with the orcs coming and the ladders on the. It's amazing. I even played it on the PS2 when I was younger. Like there's certain things that just they hit right, and I feel like that was what this last episode was missing. If you remember season 2 of Game of Thrones, uh, I'm pretty sure episode 9 was the Battle of Blackwater, which you had the
Mhm.
green fire being spit everywhere,
Mhm.
Stannis losing massive boats. Like that was enough that when you watched the 10th and you didn't have a bunch of action, it was just a denouement.
It
It
was
worked.
okay.
It's
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
I feel like that's the same thing where this show kind of didn't, it messed up its pacing with those last two.
But
And
but I think that it was clear that like it's not the same kind of action we're gonna get with like House of the Dragons than Game of Thrones. That was clear. Like it was already another kind of vibe, more like whispery, more in the unknown, more in seeing like all those uh, all those people trying to get over each other and creating that Game of Thrones that we thought we would have seen more maybe
that
in
we
the old
expect.
shows. Yeah, exactly. So I'm okay with that. But action wise, I think that for that last episode, it's not necessarily action that it was missing, but oomph, something that will give me like
I think
the
that's where we'll
interest of
disagree.
waiting 2 years,
I think that's where
especially
we
for a
disagree, bro.
2 year waiting.
Because I think that's where we're just gonna have to disagree. Because like
Mhm.
that action for me, as somebody who really is a fan of that, and as somebody who didn't need
Was
that with,
needed.
but here's the thing, I didn't need it. I really enjoyed this episode without it. My point is to the general viewer. right? There's so much teasing and teasing of war. If we had just seen, for example, 5 minutes of the Free City ships and the and Sea Snake Corliss's ships and his son
Mm-hmm.
Alan just
Yeah, we would
and
have.
just a couple of spears,
They,
a couple of trebuchets,
yeah,
whatever it is, just a couple of little bits, just like almost like giving us a montage beginning of what the war is going to be like when we start next season to kind of tease us with actual action, and then next season you're just right into it. But that's what's going
I
to
get
happen.
it.
I think that when you think viewers are going to lose their interest, I think what really
Yeah,
comes down to is that a viewer is going to look at it like this. Right now, they're a little cheesed. Okay,
yeah,
they're going to get a Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon off their mind after a couple months, and then when a year comes, a year and a half, I'd say, and we get that first trailer, and they just show you balls to the wall action, the viewership's going to go crazy. The viewership numbers will be even higher than last time.
let's see.
I'm
Let's see, but
we can make that
let's
bet
see.
right now, but
Let's see.
we can make
Yeah,
that bet
we
right
can make
now.
that bet right now. I don't mind.
Right
Uh,
now.
but the thing is, we had a
Mhm.
good action like 3 or 4 episodes before. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that far before the king was like just got injured and like
We lost
that
Rainey's.
treason
We
happened and we
lost
lost
Rainey's.
Grenades. No, like it wasn't like at the beginning of the show. It was like maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago. So for me, that action maybe at the end, yes, it would have helped. For sure, it would have given me that that I'm talking about. But it's more about like it was the same preparation as the last episode. It was like a continuity really of the last episode. So for me, maybe the last episode should have been the seventh episode should have been the last episode. You know, like just finding her dragon riders and her bastards, and boom, we're starting there. That maybe would have been like more
I
sufficient.
get it.
But
I
because
get
of
it.
that last episode, we needed that little thing.
We
And
needed that
yeah,
extra
for
bit.
sure, with action would have helped. That's for
We
sure.
need, you know, when you're seeing an artist as like in a concert or whatever, and they're like, we're gonna do just one more, we're gonna give you the encore, and the encore is like your favorite song. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
we
yeah.
needed. We didn't get that. That's true.
Because Game of
I
Thrones,
can
we
definitely say
always got it. Like, really got that, like
that.
that interest, that curiosity of what's gonna happen.
But realistically though,
Yeah,
now that we're out of the way with the general criticisms over it,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what are we looking forward to? Because let's be real, there is
Hmm.
so much to. For me, I'm just gonna flat out the thing that's gonna excite me the most is to see how Allison's departure actually affects Team Green.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
wearing some real green right now because R.I.P. Team Green, y'all
Oh
screwed,
yeah.
okay? Because Allison was low key holding you guys down. She really was,
Hmm.
and she
I
said,
know
"Peace,
everything is unleashed. Yeah,
peace, y'all."
yeah.
That's it. And
I
she
know it's gonna be very
deuces.
interesting to see. And all the and everybody, like all the peasants and everybody, we didn't see them like really right now, but I suppose they're gonna come back in the third episode. There's a lot of stuff that there's like a denouement that needs to be done. You know what I mean? On
Well, that you
little
feel like, well,
stuff.
do you feel like the premiere will be that? Like, because
No, yeah,
I feel like the premiere is gonna open with a crazy amount of action.
oh,
Then the
yeah.
middle of it's gonna be a lot of just like getting adjusted to the new status quo of what everything is like on the show, and
Hmm.
then back into it. Let's go. I'm
Yeah,
ready for that because I think that that's what they're building up to really like intelligently. Like I think they're really going, when we finally give you war, you're gonna have a whole season of it. You will be
yeah.
sick of it. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like
okay. Let's see if it's
not
that.
literally,
Let's
but you know.
let's see. Let's see. I like your theory, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure about it. But I like your
Hey,
theory.
hey,
But
hey,
I think
hey,
there
it's
will
all up in the
always
air,
be
brother. It's
some
all up in
Game
the
of
air.
Thrones stuff. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Like the cameos we got. For example, you know, the Daenerys body double, the actress who,
Yeah,
you know, was playing
yeah,
her. We get that nice
yeah.
shot. That was I think it's that.
I saw a lot of
Yeah,
effort, but it didn't came
I
together.
really
That's
I
all.
like
But
the
I
way,
saw the effort,
but
bro.
I like the way the vision was very storybook. It almost felt like, yeah, like you could tell there was a lot of CGI being used, but I felt the CGI was done so stylistically and well
Hmm.
enough that it's like it lended to it. Like the Night King was looking a little different though. I ain't gonna lie, he was looking a
Hmm.
little. Or was it the Night King's lieutenant? I can't remember. Point is, that guy, he was looking a little like he got a little nip and tuck in between seasons.
Hmm.
But it was definitely interesting to see Damon be the one to have that and channel that. You know what I mean? Through the tree. And I think Alice kind of being this like omen, but also being like a writer of wrongs in a way. and like helping this guy see the light at the end of the day is nice. It's really nice to see that. I think a woman having that impact is very important for the narrative, and I wonder if that's going to be played up a little more over
Mhm.
time. And just to see him bend the knee to Rhaenyra, that was satisfying, you guys. You know who I
Yeah,
said.
that was
That
satisfying,
was
but
satisfying.
I'm pretty sure there's something else because when he came to tell him that I think we need a king, and he just smiled, and then he bends the knee. That's for the third season. That's where we're gonna see it. We're gonna see his true colors. That's what I loved it. Don't
Listen,
be
listen.
afraid. We're
I'll
gonna
put it
see
like this, okay?
that's
He has
gonna
two
happen.
paths right now. He can be a
Yeah,
turncoat.
but yeah,
He can be a real traitor if he wants to be, which is
he is.
entirely in the cards, or
He was
he
smiling
can
too much.
follow the path that was ordained for him and play his part. Play
Mhm.
your part, Damon. Play your part.
Let's see. The second is gonna be able to take it. He's gonna take it.
But that's the thing. I think with the
And
we're going to see it
I,
more in the
I
battle
think,
aspect. I think we're going to
and
see
that's where
that
it's
commitment. I think when
yeah.
they go to war and they actually war out, and we see his armies that he amassed with hers and against the Team Green, because Team Green still has quite formidable forces. We're going to really see it go down and see if he's truly loyal. That's where I think it's going to matter most, not just in the words that he says. It's his actions that matter, right?
But yeah, let's see. But I'm pretty sure he's not loyal, bro. That's all about it right now.
Say less.
You know, like that's what it is. Like that's Game of Thrones.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
But you
Let's
know
see.
what? I want to say this though. For me, I just need just a little bit more multi-dragon fighting. So we've gotten so no, I really want to make this very clear.
I,
I gotta specify.
it's not a criticism
It's
right
not a
now, like, but a
it's not
little
a
bit
little
of
bit
more dragon
so
fighting.
I'll keep it really simple, but it's very specific multi-dragon fighting. So what I mean by that
Mhm.
is essentially I need 2v2s. I need
Mhm.
3v2s. I can't be having.
Yeah,
I'm done with this 1v2 stuff. No, 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 no.
yeah. I
We
get what
need
you
we
mean. We
need
need,
straight up 2v2 battles. I need
yeah,
Dreamfire out here with Vagar, and you gotta have Vermithor and a
yeah,
Silverwing, and they just going in. Just, come on, let's do it. Let's do
yeah.
it.
Harry Potter shit.
Drop
Yeah.
the budget. Drop the money. Drop the money. Like some salt on your
Hmm.
pasta, okay? Like some salt on your fries. Let's go. Let's go. Real
True,
talk.
man. But
I'm
at the
excited.
end, that's crazy because everything is already written. If we wanted to check,
I
we
would
know.
I would argue they're
But
deviating though. They're deviating like to an extreme point that it should essentially be its own adaptation. It's really its own version of events, and it's going to
oh
be.
yeah,
I think it's going to be entirely its own thing. I think do
I
not.
think they're gonna
I think don't
completely
use
switch
the. I think
the
don't.
ending.
This is what I'll say. Don't use the book as reference for specific character deaths or directions.
Hmm.
I think use it more for what scenes we're going to get, what battles we're going to get, because I think those are things that are irrefutable facts. But who died, how
Hmm.
they died, what happened, who did what?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all up in the air. So for me, I really think that that's what they're playing on. It was a maester who wrote down these things, and a lot of it was based on what a gesture said. So they're going to really play up the veracity of the claims, and I think
Hmm.
that that works in the show's favor at the end of the day, because then we don't actually know exactly what they're going to do with their character angles and their motivations, and maybe that's why this show is having, I think, a lot of its fandom issues right now, is that a lot of people read these books and then have an interpretation that they think it should be one for one with it. And I think that sometimes when you do, especially like visual media, change it up. Because I can just read the book if I want that version, and I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I think there's times where, in this case, like, I don't need the show to be one for one. I really don't. I think it would really take away from it, and it would just be a scene by scene, play by play. And I feel like having that change up and that mix up is like the mystery that we
Mhm.
have as a viewer now, and it's a part of the interest in wanting to watch the
And
show in
that
the
the
first place.
author of the book is the producer of the
Of the show,
series.
yep.
So if you change something, you know it's
It
relevant
was relevant,
or
or
it makes
it was
sense.
approved
Yeah, exactly.
by him in some
Exactly. That
degree,
changed a
right?
lot too.
And
Yeah.
so I think, what was it? He made a statement, I believe it was today or yesterday, talking about how the show needs about 4 seasons to do the entirety of. And I think
And
that that's going to be really cool to see. I think HBO's going to stretch it out to 5, 110%.
I hope they're not gonna lose us,
I
man,
think they're going to
because
stretch it out to
it
5. I think they're going to
irritating.
stretch it out to 5, and the fifth season will be in a post Renera circumstance.
Let's see.
I think it'll be a denouement, 110%. I like it's going to be really interesting to see how they play it up. If they choose to just once Rhaenyra's situation is wrapped up, that we're done, or are we going to then continue with her children and what happens with her children when she's passed on, and the new Game of Thrones or the new person who tries to usurp the throne. So I think that'd be very interesting to see in a fifth season if they choose to do that. But at 4 seasons, you got me, baby. You got me.
Mm.
Straight up.
But I'm gonna be there for the next one. That's for sure. I'm gonna check.
I think everybody will. That's right. You said I'm gonna stay loyal, like you're staying loyal to your barber.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm gonna check it out. That's for sure. But that final episode was a little bit sour.
I'm satisfied. Yeah. I think to quote Nice Pool, I think it's been steadily great. Straight up.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
This is a great one. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about this whole season with you guys. Just hunkering down week to week, talking about the Game of Thrones, the was it a saga of ice and fire, or fire and ice. It's such a fun universe to be in, and I hope that they keep up the same quality they've been keeping up overall. I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy with it.
It was Kaya, and I'm Carlo.
You already know.
If you like this episode, just go down and subscribe. It always helps. See you next time.
Next time on
episode. Let's go. Let's say it. Next episode, it will be
probably Deadpool and Wolverine. I think we really gotta hunker down and do a nice little spoiler cast.
Real talk. So let's go. It's not gonna be long. It's gonna be
a little 1-2. But we'll make sure that you get the gist of it and what we really think of Wade Wilson and Logan. You already know, you guys. Have a good one. Ciao.
Bye-bye.